Preparing for an on-location shoot. All right, welcome back to Photography After Hours. So we are here and we're going to be talking today about preparing for a on-location shoot. So I wanted to introduce everyone. So we have the lovely Susie Taylor. And Scotty Myers is back
Howdy.
for the After Hours episode now. And we are sponsored by PAC, the Photographers Adventure Club. Do all kinds of cool stuff, photo walks, all kinds of free stuff, and everything you can find on photoadvclub.com. So check it out. There's a ton of new events up for January, February, March out there. So check them out. By the time this airs, that'll be irrelevant information, but whatever. So, all right. So moving forward. So we've chatted a little bit about this, about doing an on-location shoot and kind of some of the things that can totally mess you up or some of the things that you can prepare for. So, Scotty, you brought this one up, scouting it out.
Oh, absolutely. It's one thing to say, hey, let's go shoot at XYZ location, but if you've never been there and you show up, you're really doing yourself a disservice. You really don't know how the lighting is going to be, whether you're going to have natural light, you know, when the sun goes down, what are you going to have? Is there going to be street lamps? Where are the shadows going to fall? Where's the sun going to set? If you're wanting to do that beautiful silhouette with the sun right behind the model, you need to know where that sun's going to set on the horizon so you can set it up right. And if you try to do all that right there while you have everything on site, you're really setting yourself up for disappointment.
Yep, exactly. And then you have to, you don't look like the professional going into it. If you have a client or a model or something else and you're just stumbling all over yourself, it just shows that you're not a professional.
Absolutely.
There are some really useful online tools that you can use, and there are phone apps also to do some of that pre-planning. One of them on the PC or Mac or whatever online is the Photographer's Ephemeris. I'm not going to spell it. The Photographer's Ephemeris. And then for iPhone users, and they may have an Android version out, but I know it's on iPhone, is PhotoPills. So it will let you plan the specific location, even if you just have GPS coordinates, or if it's a common landmark or something nearby, you can find it right on the map, and then choose any date, any time, and it will tell you when sunrise, sunset, where the position of the moon is, where the celestial entities, where the stars are, the Milky Way, things like that. And also, and it takes into account elevation and also objects that may impede your vision to the horizon and stuff. So
oh yeah, we were shooting that time lapse
and all kinds of stuff.
We were out shooting a time lapse, and we didn't use that app. And I've been there tons of times before, and the sun actually came down and shadowed my whole foreground. So we got up and moved down to a different part of Four Peaks, and it was light for like 2 more hours. So we were able to go back and reshoot another whole time lapse because the mountain behind us was too tall.
Because Nick didn't use PhotoPills in advance.
So, but check out the episode.
Well, he had been to the location before, so this was not new.
Okay.
So yeah, but we have a whole episode on apps, so check that out. Go back and check that on all the different apps you can use. So another thing we were talking about, Susie, was permits.
Yes.
And certain times in certain places you need permits.
Absolutely.
So and certain times you don't. So do you want to run through a few of those different reasons for needing permits?
Well, private property. Usually you want to get permission or a permit, and it's going to depend on the property, things like that. National parks, definitely find out what the rules are and follow those rules. There are stiff penalties, stiff fines. You can try to argue with rangers and things like that, but it is best to be prepared with documentation that says that you're okay to be there. But research what you need permits for in advance. Sometimes you have to mail in an application, that type of stuff. Other places you can actually go and just request in person and get a permit, but it's going to vary location to location. What often comes up though is the question of, well, what constitutes professional photographer or commercial photographer versus hobbyist, fine art photography, that type of thing.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, and we don't want to get down in the rabbit hole on this. I know we talked about that. This could be a whole episode on itself. Sure. But a lot of permits only apply to commercial photography and apply to movies, like making movies where they have to close streets, and like they were recording that movie with Johnny Depp in Monument Valley, and now they have to close access to people that are there and everything, and I understand that, but they don't always apply to fine art photographers and hobbyists and family things, so you really have to look into that when you talk to the ranger or someone like that, or a police officer. You know, we got kicked off a fire scene for not having a fake press pass.
Sometimes they're not fully aware or informed about what constitutes professional photography or commercial photography. And
they totally are. You have a big camera. You're a commercial photographer. That's all they know.
A big camera, and they're like, you're
just get lumped in.
Right.
Anything with an interchangeable lens is considered professional these days.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so go out and get a Lumix and you'll be fine, and no one will bother you. Or go get a Fuji, a Lumix, Olympus. You're good. You're not commercial anymore. So yeah, just be aware of them. Private property, different things like that. You know, little tidbit of information, like anywhere in New York City, you can't put a tripod down. It's illegal. So like you cannot put a tripod down, especially in places like the World Trade Center Memorial and all that stuff. You can't do it there, but all the other places you need permits to actually use a tripod for anything. And someone told me that. I was like, are you kidding me? Like the whole city? Like who polices that? Who has time to even worry about that?
Technicalities, but if you're the one that gets busted
caught
on it, you know?
Exactly.
I mean...
And you can't play like, you know, oh, I didn't know about it, because they're going to ticket you. So moving on. So number one thing before you go out is...
Make sure you get your batteries with you, that they're charged, and you have a spare. Funny story, I know a friend who he spent 45 minutes hiking to the top of a mountain to catch sunset, and none of his batteries were charged.
My battery is dying in that camera right now, but that's because I lost the charger. But yeah, charge batteries and empty cards.
Right.
Yep.
You have room on your cards. Or be ready to erase pictures that you may not have copied.
I am always I'll put a card in, and I'm going and I start shooting, and then I realize I didn't clear the card. And so, I've only got half of it left, because I can't just now go back and pick the ones that, were previous. I'm well into shooting by the time I realize this, so that happens all the time.
Well, cards are cheap. I have 4 brand new 64 gig cards on the desk there. They're so cheap. Go out and buy them as backups. I haven't even opened those yet, but like if one of these cameras stops, I can go put that in and have 64 gigs. It's gotten so inexpensive.
Well, you don't
now.
even need the really big fat memory cards so much either. You don't have to get the very biggest, because the more full it gets, the longer it takes to write to the card anyway. So, there's a balance. There's a sweet spot.
And the balance is?
Yeah. So balance is whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because some people are not
for you.
comfortable having 1,000 pictures on a card. They only want a certain amount. So.
But with video now, these cameras are doing 4K video, and they fill up a lot quicker than, and all the little 4K features and stuff. So it can't hurt to have more. I'd rather have a 64 than a 16 or,
I don't ever try to fill a card.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so moving on. So lighting, strobes, flashes, speed lights, natural light. Know what you're going to do ahead of time, I think, as part of it. So when you're going out, are you going to be in an alley where there is no light? Are you going to bring your own light? Do you have batteries for that light? Because now there are different batteries. I don't know why no one's developed the same, why can't I buy a 580 flash and pop another Canon battery into it? I don't understand that. Why do I need to get double A's?
Every device has different batteries.
But they're always double A, and they're a pain. You have 4 of them. They're in, it's like, why can't it just be like another Canon battery or 2 batteries, like the battery gift? It's just Canon, go out and do that, or someone go do that. So, so they have different batteries. You have to make sure you have them. You have to make sure they're charged. If you're going to use natural light, again, the photo apps, where's it coming from? Where's it going to? Are you going to have shadows?
Did you bring a reflector?
Good point.
Like that.
You bring a reflector holder / assistant.
Yes,
or
a tripod
thing.
to clip it onto.
Yeah, so know what kind of lighting and what the weather's going to be.
Oh yeah, weather will burn you every time if you're not watching, because it's Arizona. Let's say you're shooting
so
in
it's
July.
120.
So now it turns 4 o'clock and suddenly that wind kicks up at 30 miles an hour because you get a storm blowing in.
Yep.
That could totally ruin your shoot if you didn't plan ahead, or if you're not.
Or
make
have that backup if you're
plan.
Prepared.
That's true.
You can,
yeah,
turn
you got
lemons
that
into
fabric
lemonade.
and
All
let
of
that
a
flow
sudden,
out.
yep.
Or the rain. Rain, everyone runs away from the rain out in Arizona. They don't do that in other states and cities because they just sit home all the time in Seattle or something, and Chicago. But out here, everyone hides from it. It's like, go out and shoot. Like last week when it was raining, it kind of got old after 5-6 days. But like at the beginning of it, I was like, go out and shoot. There's the reflections, there's puddles, there's all this awesome stuff. Go out and have fun. And
riverbeds are full.
Yeah, so it gives a whole different feel to everything. And you have a big softbox overhead when there's clouds, which we don't get often out here.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Well, yeah, if the weather turns on you, you have a backup plan for the weather, but take advantage of it where you can.
Yeah, and I'd love to go over the rest, but I can't see it anymore. There's a camera in my way.
Well, something to think about is accessibility of where you want to go on location and the folks that are going to be in the shoot.
Sure.
You don't want to ask, somebody who's maybe got a physical limitation to climb the side of a cliff.
Yeah, if you're going to shoot family photos and grandpa might be in a wheelchair or something, or just can't breathe, is from hiking up something like that, like a mountain, it looks okay until you start walking up it.
Right.
And then it's like, I'm like halfway up, I'm ready to like keel over. So like you don't want to put people in a bad position.
Well, and you brought up a great point is, you're hauling batteries, you're hauling strobes. Make sure you can get there. The people you're photographing can get there.
Reflector holder / assistant.
Okay.
Here, carry all this stuff.
Sherpa.
This is true. Yeah, exactly.
Cat goats.
Exactly.
So as we start to wrap it up, we went over a bunch of different things, but one of the things to do is what you were calling guerrilla shooting or run and gun. So if you don't have the permits and you're not doing commercial, so you don't need the permit, and you're going to go out there, but you could still get in trouble or stopped or questioned, the best thing to do is don't stay in one place for a long time. Go shoot your looks. Then move to the next spot and go with minimal equipment. Don't go with a huge softbox and all that.
Have it on all your light stands and stuff.
Exactly.
Bring your Maven adapter and your paint pole and do your lighting.
Or a monopod.
Yeah, all that stuff.
So just minimal equipment.
Lightweight.
Flashes maybe instead of strobes.
Yep.
Portable speed lights, yeah. And like you said, be on the move.
Be on the move. Always be,
Keep the car 10 feet away. If you can.
And when asked if you are a commercial photographer, what is the answer?
No.
Use the Jedi mind trick.
You are not looking for these droids.
These are not the photographers you're looking for.
That's right.
All right. So to recap as we wind up here. So preparing for a shoot. So scouting, checking the area out, going out and getting permits or permission on private property. Commercial versus fine art, make sure that you know what you're doing. If you're doing fine art, you may never sell that. It may just be a hobbyist shot. Charge your batteries, empty your cards, be prepared, have extra batteries. They're cheap. They're $50 compared to you're missing your shoot or your client being mad, stuff like that. Lighting, are you going to use strobes, natural light? Are you going to use your alien bees and use the battery packs and all that stuff? Is the weather going to affect you adversely? Is it going to be good, bad, add to it? Do you not care? Should you care? So I'm looking at that.
Bring your rain covers and things like that. Don't forget those little incidentals that you might have set aside because it's been sunny all summer.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden you're out there and it's raining and you're dead in the water because you have no options now.
Accessibility. So for anyone that has disabilities or other things that they can't get to someplace, whether it's age or anything else, that you want to make sure that you know that. And then guerrilla shoot. So when it comes down to if you're just doing a model shoot or a quinceanera or something else, do that. On the guerrilla shooting side, the other option is go someplace like, what's the place up in Scottsdale where we're just at, where you're allowed to go shoot at the Civic Center.
Yeah.
And find a place that's photographer friendly,
All over downtown Scottsdale and stuff. They're
fine. But if you go downtown Phoenix, now they're going to want permits just because, different towns. So just, know where you're going and, have a good time, be safe, don't get in the way. If you get in the way, if you mouth off to cops and security guards, it just goes bad quick and you're just going to be that photographer. So just stay out of the way.
Yeah. Well, and one thing to mention is bring water, folks, because whether it's winter, whether it's summer, make sure you're taking care of yourself physically for your hydration. Bring some snacks. Last thing you want is to be taking a picture and then suddenly realize you haven't eaten in 8 hours and you fall over.
You're doing more physical work. A lot of times time gets away from you because you're just focused on other things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, so so cool. Well, thank you guys for coming out and chatting with me about preparing for a shoot. So this was Photography After Hours, preparing for an on-location shoot. And check out all of our other episodes. Be sure to subscribe, share this, and like us here and on Facebook. And we will see you real soon. So thanks again.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. Cheers.